What is up, guys? Lonehawk here today, and welcome back to Overwatch. In today's video, I am very excited to be giving you a quick guide on the new hero that was just announced, Ana Amari. Currently, she's only playable on the PTR server, but she will be available to the public very soon. So let's go over her. We'll cover a quick, bio, what you need to know about her, and then go over her abilities, as well as some strategies for using them. Ana Amari is a 60-year-old woman, a former member of Overwatch, and guess what her occupation is? It's a bounty hunter. I don't know why, I just find this quite interesting, that a bounty hunter is the type of hero that will be supporting her team. Because if you don't know already, the speculations were partially correct. She is a support sniper. Regardless though, let's cover some of her abilities and give some strategies for using them. These are just strategies I've gathered through minimal playtime of her, so stay tuned for my ultimate guide of Ana Amari, which will come out once her numbers are finalized and she's actually sent to the live server. Her weapon of choice is a Biotic Rifle, which heals friendlies and damages enemies. She can zoom in for accurate shots, and when she zooms in, and only when she zooms in, the weapon becomes hit scan, meaning there is no bullet travel time. However, when she zooms out, there is a projectile with a velocity, so keep that in mind. The weapon heals for 75 and deals 89 damage. What's interesting to note though, is that it deals damage over time and heals over time. Instead of doing instant damage, as we can see in this clip right here, when she shoots Tracer, you can see her gain health for about 1 second, maybe a little bit less. And when she shoots Reaper, you can see him take damage for the same amount of time. This is important to note because it means enemies will always have a split second to fire back at you, even if you've done enough damage to get the kill, because your damage isn't instant. So you should be careful when sniping people like Widowmaker, because even if you hit her first, she will have a split second to fire back, and if she lands that headshot, you're dead. Ana's next ability is her Sleep Dart. Ana can fire a shot from her sidearm, which knocks an enemy unconscious, but damage will wake them up. So this, in my opinion, is a harder to use flashbang that McCree has. The most interesting mechanic is that damage will wake enemies up. This is pretty unimportant against squishy targets like Tracers and Genjis because you and your team can probably kill them while they're asleep and getting up out of being asleep because you fall to the ground when you fall asleep. However, against tanks, it will be a much harder ability to use, especially when you're on your own. The fact that damage wakes them up means sometimes you may just want to leave them asleep because they stay asleep for 4 seconds if you don't shoot them. The ability has a 12-second cooldown and deals a measly 5 damage, which you can pretty much ignore because, honestly, 5 damage is pretty much nothing. There are a few scenarios I recommend using this ability. The first one is the most obvious. When there's an enemy up close to you that can deal high amounts of damage, like maybe a Tracer or a Reaper, you're gonna want to knock them out with your Sleep Dart. After you knock them out though, you need to make the decision of whether you want to wake them up by shooting them or leave them asleep and retreat to safety. What I recommend doing is a combination of both. Against someone like Reaper, I recommend backing up a little bit first and then shooting at him because you want to be outside of his maximum damage zone, which is really close. If you're low on HP or the other target can pretty much always beat you in a 1v1, maybe it's a Soldier 76, you should just back up and retreat to safety with your teammates, or try to coordinate you and your teammates shooting at that person at the same time because you'll most likely get the kill. Another scenario I like to use the Sleep Dart is against enemy tanks that are frontlining for their team. Taking out a Reinhardt from behind who has his shield up can expose his whole team and allow your team to get some crucial kills. However, this time you want to make sure you and your teammates don't shoot the tank. Shoot the people he's just exposed by falling asleep. When he gets back up again, you can then worry about dealing with the tank, but make sure he stays asleep for the full 4 seconds because that is when his team is very weak and vulnerable. And finally, the last optimal use for Sleep Dart, and of course there are more, and these are just 3 that come up a lot in my opinion, is using it on the enemy support. In public games, in quick play, even in competitive, there's usually only one support in a game because everybody's too stubborn to play the support. When you put the support to sleep, if it's a Lucio, a Mercy, it doesn't matter who it is, you're taking out a lot of healing the enemy team has, giving your team a huge advantage. Deciding on whether you want to try and kill them while waking them up in the process versus leaving them asleep for the full 4 seconds is kind of up to you. You're going to have to determine that in every fight individually. If it's the last person alive, of course you go for the kill. However, if you don't think you can actually get the kill on them, like they're behind a Reinhardt or there's just teammates around them, it can be useful to leave them asleep for the full time. Ana has another way to heal her teammates other than her Biotic Rifle, and that is her Biotic Grenade. Ana can throw a Biotic Bomb that deals damage to enemies and heals allies in a small area of effect. Affected allies receive 100 health immediately, and for a brief period of time, receive bonus HP when being healed. The kicker, though, is that enemies that are hit by this receive 60 damage immediately and have healing blocked for them for a very brief period of time. And when I say blocked, I mean completely blocked. They cannot receive any additional health from a support, from a med tech, nothing. They cannot receive HP for that brief period of time. As for this ability's uses and strategies, it's honestly really versatile. You can use it as a last-ditch effort to survive by throwing it at your feet, giving you 100 HP. You can use it with a Lucio or a Zenyatta who is using Transcendence to give your whole team AoE super heals, which honestly I think could be very fun. Receiving like massive amounts of HP and the rest of your team is getting that HP too would be pretty crazy. And similarly, you can use it to negate these effects. If the enemy team has a Zenyatta or a Lucio, you can throw your Biotic Grenade near them, and their heal will be negated to anybody who is in the Biotic Grenade's radius. It can also be used against Mercies who are pocketing someone. If you throw it at the person they're pocket healing, you can hopefully shut them down because they won't be receiving HP. You can use it on Roadhogs and Reapers as well. It's a pretty versatile grenade. Like I said, you can use it in a lot of scenarios, and I'm guessing people are going to come up with some pretty creative ways to do so. Your ultimate is by far your coolest ability. It's called Nano Boost. You target a teammate and give them a boost, which gives them 66% increased damage, reduces incoming damage by 50%, and gives them a speed boost for 8 seconds. Holy cow, 8 seconds is crazy. You can give this to just about anyone as long as they're combat capable. You give it to someone like a Genji or a Reaper and they can go full speed mode, full ham, and potentially kill the whole enemy team without even using their ultimate. You give it to someone like Reinhardt or Roadhog and you've got a super tank that can't be killed and is going ham behind enemy lines. You give it to someone maybe like Soldier 76 and you have a well-built all-around soldier who can take damage and deal it back. Honestly, this ability is just cool. I can't even say it's just cool. The one thing I have to say about it, though, is communicate when you're going to use it and make sure your team is with the person that it's being used on. I did say you could potentially kill the whole enemy team with it, but that's only when your team is with you. If you try to 1v6 the entire enemy team, you will lose. I'm sorry, but you will lose. Unless you're using your ultimate, maybe you're a Roadhog using Whole Hog, or a Genji or a Reaper using your ultimate, trying to 1v6 is a bad idea. So I recommend using this when your team is around you to get the maximum benefit from it. One other tip I have for using your Nano Boost is be careful who you use this on. I just mentioned a few heroes that would be very good with it. However, there are some that would be very bad with it. In general, I'd say don't give it to heroes that don't have hit scan weapons. Junkrat may be good, but people like Mei or Hanzo would be very bad with this buff. Trust me, they're not good. Widowmaker, I wouldn't recommend giving it to. I know she has a hit scan weapon, but half of her kit is the ability to be evasive and not take damage. If you're giving this boost to someone who doesn't take damage, you're wasting a bunch of the boost, which is a 50% reduction in damage. I really recommend giving to someone that can get behind enemy lines, get all up in their face, and just mess with them. Any tank will do, most of the assault heroes will do. I just don't recommend giving it to supports or some of the defensive heroes. Before I let you all go, I just want to give you a quick look at Ana's cosmetic items if you haven't seen them already. Let's start with her skins. These are pretty cool. You've got your basic ones here. You got the color changes. You got red, Citrine, which is just yellow, Peridot, which is green, and Turquoise, which is turquoise. These are all pretty cool. I like them all. They're good. I actually like her default skin a lot. This is a pretty cool getup she's got going on, so that's cool. When you move to these ones, though, guys, I'm telling you, these are some of the coolest skins in the game. Let's look at her merciful skin. This is, holy cow. You get the eye patch and everything, the cape. This is a cool skin. But you want to see a cooler skin? Shrike. This is like the carbon fiber Genji of Ana. You're going to see everyone running this, because this, in my opinion, is the coolest skin. Look at that. Look at that mask. That is truly terrifying. Holy cow. That's a cool skin. That's pretty sweet. The weapons do change as well, but the colors, these ones all from Shrike and up here, these all just change the colors. They're all the same weapon with just different colorations on them. When you move down here, though, you can go to Wadjet and Wasteland. These are both pretty cool. Wasteland reminds me of something out of Fallout. And Wadjet, it's pretty similar, I guess. They're just different colors. These weapons are actually changed. This kind of looks like Diva's, steampunky skin. I don't know what it's actually called, but this is a pretty cool skin as well. I like it. These skins, though, are the other two. I think we're going to see people using Shrike and the Captain Amari and the Horus skin. These are pretty sweet because it's just young Anna. You know, it's pretty cool. She's got the beret on, the whole cool getup. It's a pretty sweet skin, and the weapon looks pretty sweet as well. It's pretty modern and sleek. It's got a suppressor on it, unlike this one, which has, you know, a muzzle brake on it. Cool skins. I like them all. Let's move on, though, to some of her victory poses. We'll go over her emotes in a minute. Her first victory pose, mission complete. Pretty cool. Standard over the shoulder. Whatever. Protector. It's I feel like this would be more fitting of the younger Anna, if you know what I mean, but still a cool victory pose nonetheless. And then seated, which is my favorite victory pose. She's got one arm resting here. She's about to take an enemy out with just one hand because she doesn't even care. That's pretty cool. Emotes, disapproving, you know, you should go to bed earlier. I'm your grandma, you know, stuff like that. Protector's pretty cool. She's got this little hologram thingy she pulls out. I think that's her daughter. Yes, obviously that's her daughter. And then tea time, where she actually has tea. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. She pulls out a cup of tea that was in her pocket. That's cool. Anyway, the highlight intros, though, this is where stuff gets real. Guardian, pretty cool. She pulls out her sidearm and does a cool little flip like that. All right. Locked on. Also super cool. Like, let's watch that one more time because I really like that one. Ready? I love the way the camera switches on that. That's cool. But this one is the coolest one. By far, that might be the best highlight intro in the game, guys. Oh my gosh, I can't even say. I want to see this with the Shrike skin or the young Anna skin. I honestly think this is very cool. These are awesome. This is pretty cool stuff. You can also make the weapons gold, just like any other weapon. Pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to go over the sprays or the voice lines. There's a lot of them. But overall, guys, this is my favorite skin. And I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below and maybe subscribe. And stay tuned for my more detailed Anna guide or Anna gameplay that will be coming out soon. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Lone Hawk, out.